Hi everyone and welcome to this Protection Insight podcast. Joining me today is Claire Shine, who is one of the key account managers for my pipeline. Thanks for joining me today, Claire. How are you today?
Yes, good, thank you. Very well.
Right, what we're going to do in this podcast today is take a look at the mortgage and risk reports that you can find built right into Solution Builder. Now, I've had various conversations with advisors. Some advisors use them, some advisors don't use them, and others don't even know what they are. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to take a look at them, see how you create them, and actually think about some ideas about how you can use these to position with your clients, because they are really good. And I think risk reports, as we know them in the protection landscape, well, they're actually quite new. They weren't available, say, 8 or 9 years ago. But I think personally, these could be real game changers for you. So for this podcast today, Claire, what I'd like us to do, if you could walk me through and talk me through what I need to do to create the mortgage and risk report. I think maybe the best thing to get us started is if I share my screen and let's look at Solution Builder. So here we are on the front screen of Solution Builder. What you can see here is I've got my clients Simon and Sarah Jones loaded up, Claire. Now I've just arranged the mortgage for these clients. What we've not yet done is got anywhere near that conversation about protection. But what I would like to do is create one of these protection risk reports as the basis of that conversation that we're going to have later on. So just talk me through what I need to do, Claire.
Brilliant. Yeah. So risk reports available in Solution Builder. So as you've got there, the client added in Solution Builder firstly. So whether that's that you've come into Solution Builder and added the client directly in, or you've come in via the key and the client details have been pre-populated from the key, you need to get to the benefit screen, which is where you start your quoting normally. So to access that from this screen, you would do new quote. If you were coming from the key, you would land straight on this screen. So you would be navigated straight to this screen, and then you've got the client details at the top right. So you can easily check which client you're working on to make sure it's the correct one.
So if you've got your clients built into the database, you can produce these risk reports for any client in a matter of seconds. So I've got Simon and Sarah as clients, but I'm not quite ready to quote yet. So just tell me what I need to do, Claire.
Excellent. So this is the main benefit screen, but because we're at the stage where we're not yet ready maybe to generate the quotes for the client, as we're saying, we're kind of in the middle of the mortgage and we want to generate the risk report to let them know that we're coming on to talk about protection, we can simply just jump into Solution Builder, get to this screen. We don't need to worry about running any quotes yet, but on the right-hand side, you have the risk mortgage protection report and the go to report button, and it will load a screen. So it will open up a separate window for you.
Now, most of this is pre-populated, but what I can tell you here is that it is a repayment mortgage. Postal code is B11BB. It's £500 a month on the mortgage, and then the mortgage loan is £150,000 over 30 years.
That's it. So yes, so even though it doesn't pre-populate those mortgage details, as you can see, it is kind of headline information really. So it should hopefully be information you can quickly get your hands on and quickly enter in there. So once that's all completed, you just simply click Get Report, and it will now generate a PDF document for you. Brilliant. So the PDF document gets generated. So what you can see initially, hopefully, is it's nice and kind of eye-catching to get the client's attention. So with this PDF document, what we've done is we've really tried to make it as client-friendly as possible. So not using any kind of jargon or terminology that the client wouldn't necessarily understand. It's positioned to the client, so nice wording there. If the worst was to happen, how would you look after your family and protect your home? So we're really trying to make it clear what this report is about. It's bespoke to the client. So as you can see, we've got their name, the date the report was generated, and then we've also got the details that we've entered in about the mortgage. So again, it's all relevant to them.
And I think what I like about this report, Claire, is that it's a risk statement, similar in tone, if you like, to the one on the mortgage offer, but this time it's a direct question. It says here, if the worst was to happen, how would you look after your family and protect your home? It's a good question, that, isn't it? So just talk me through the different sections on the report, Claire.
Excellent. Yes. What the report goes into then is we've kind of split it down into 4 areas. So we've got life insurance, income protection, life insurance and critical illness, and then all the key areas, life insurance, critical illness and income protection. And what we're doing in each of those is based on the client's details. So again, it is all very bespoke to the client, so personal to them, their gender, their smoker status, their date of birth. We use the Office of National Statistics to work out the risk of each of those events taking place. So we start with the first one, the life assurance. Mr. and Mrs. have a 1 in 10 chance of dying over the term of the mortgage. So again, we're using that mortgage information we're entered because it's looking at that time period.
And are these joint risks, Claire?
Yeah. So looking at both of their details as a combination. Then we have the income protection. So again, Mr. and Mrs., the chance of being off work for longer than 2 months. So there's actually a 1 in 2 chance of that taking place, which is, I think, the one that always surprises people, how likely that is going to be over the next 30 years. Then we have life and critical illness. So again, the chances of one of those events taking place over the next 30 years. So combined, they have a 1 in 5 chance of one of those events taking place. And then altogether, really, so the kind of life cover, critical illness and income protection. So of one of those events taking place, there's a 3 in 5 chance of that happening.
And a really important thing to also pick out is those indicative premium costs and then the total costs. What we've seen work really well is when you capture an overall package budget for mortgage and associated costs, that works really well. So for example, if the client can afford around £600 a month, which we know for the mortgage is £500 a month, and then those other associated costs, that could be buildings, content, but also the protection solutions. What's going to really help us is to set out some indicators about the sort of price range we need to be thinking about, and that's when we get into the protection conversation. So it's a bit like a gold, silver and bronze type choice with perhaps a platinum option in here. So in terms of the premium costs that we can see there, what are the assumptions that are made, Claire? Is it to fully repay the mortgage with life and critical illness cover?
Yes, so we do have a disclaimer at the bottom which covers what assumptions we're using. So yes, it is using that mortgage amount that you've put in to the previous screen, which I think was 150,000, wasn't it? So life or earlier, £150,000 worth of cover.
So yes, you can see it all there in the small print at the bottom. I think the good thing is that this whole thing is just a starting point. It's not actually giving the advice, but it's laying down a marker as to the possible options, and these line up with the chance of an actual claim. So the higher the premium, the higher the risk numbers, and the more chance of those things happening, and that means more chance of an actual claim. I think the other thing I really like about this, Claire, is it's one single page. And remember, these risks are just calculated during the mortgage term. We're not even talking about the risks up to retirement age when they get older. So you can save this as a PDF. And I think where this would work really well is if you are one of those advisors that uses the client portal, you can use the client portal to deliver things like this to the client in advance of the client meeting. And it's a great starting point to talk about what the client's priorities are in terms of those risk factors. Now, some advisors might not want to reveal the hand and let the client have this report until the actual protection meeting. So it's up to you how you use it. But either way, it's a really powerful tool to build into your protection sales process.
Yeah, definitely. And then so it really kind of helps overcome those kind of two of the most common barriers. I don't need to talk about protection because it's never going to happen to me. So we can set the scene with, unfortunately, these events can take place and the likelihood of them taking place. And then, of course, the other barrier, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost, so I'll come back and think about it later. We've got those indicative price there. So they have got a realistic idea of how much it will cost to cover those risks.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Really good. As you've seen, it's really, really simple to create these risk reports. But here's my final summary. If you've not seen these mortgage and risk reports before, or if you have seen them but maybe never used them, do you think you could get a reaction out of some of your clients? You see, as people who live in this country, we're not averse to insurance and we do pay attention to the risks that we see all around us. Some of these statistics are significant. Look at that 1 in 2 chance or 3 out of 5 chance. That's more than half of people just like that. They're expected to suffer those events. That means that if they had a protection solution, it means they could make a claim, and it means that they don't lose the home, or it means that they can maintain their mortgage payments. So my challenge is this. Shouldn't we make sure, or try to make sure, that every client gets to see one of these risk reports? You could even use this as the basis of a campaign to go back to clients again and use it as the reason, the urgent reason, to have a new conversation about their protection needs. So Claire, I really appreciate you spending some time to walk us through that process to create these mortgage and risk reports. And thanks, as always, for you guys for taking the time to tune in. Until next time, it's bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.